Judge, can we just have one moment?
Yep.
Thank you. Tom?
All right. Come on up, man. Very good. We'll swear you in again if you don't mind. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. Could you state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Lieutenant Rita Gallo, G-A-L-L-O.
Very good. We'll be seated. And we're just setting up some of our technical things, so just bear with us for a moment.
Lieutenant, welcome back.
Yep.
Last time you were here, you testified about your work at the scene of the kidnapping in Newton, New Jersey. Today what I'd like to do is talk about some of your work out in Missouri. Okay? Before I get to that though, I want to show you one photograph. And we're trying to find it on this smartboard, but I'll show you the actual hard copy of the photograph. So this would be back at the scene Jamie Pet Supply in Newton. There's a photograph taken by Detective Tom Muller of the Newton Police Department. And I'd like you to look at that. That's marked S71. And on the sidewalk there, what, if anything, do you see?
On the sidewalk, there was almost looked like splatter, like a red substance.
And when you were processing the scene over at J&G, did you yourself take a photograph of what's depicted there in S71?
No.
But you did see it.
Yes.
Why didn't you photograph it?
Because we didn't feel that it had any evidential value. We didn't feel it was biological evidence.
Okay.
It was hard, and you couldn't remove it with a swab. It was hard, so it looked more like paint to us.
You believed it was stained.
That's what we thought it was. Yes.
And Judge, just because we're having some difficulty finding that,
Yeah.
is it okay if I just hold this up to the jury?
Oh, all right.
Thank you very much. Lieutenant, I think we previously marked all of your reports and evidence and photograph logs. So I just want to put those back up in case you need to refer to them during your testimony. I'm going to refer you to January 10th, 2010, the day after Jeff Muller was found. Did you fly out to St. Louis, Missouri?
Yes. I did.
What was your purpose in going out to Missouri?
To continue the investigation.
Did you go by yourself or did other detectives go with you?
There were 8 of us that went. 8 went to the state of New Jersey. Yes.
When you arrived in St. Louis, did you meet with anyone?
Yes. When we arrived in St. Louis, we were met by a police officer from the St. Louis airport, and he took us to a conference room where we met with Sergeant Vance from the Lake Ozark Police Department and Chief Naples.
At some point, did you also see Mr. Muller, the victim?
Yes, and Mr. Muller was brought into the conference room in a wheelchair.
He was brought in a wheelchair. Can you describe for the jury how he appeared to you? Did you notice any injuries on him?
When Mr. Muller was brought in, he had visible facial injuries. He had what looked like a black eye. He was visibly upset, and he was vacillating between crying and trying to be calm, and he kept saying to himself, like, I'm okay now, I'm okay now. He was It was a mess.
After you met with the victim, where did you go?
Then we were driven back to Lake Ozark Police Department.
Do you know what happened to Jeff Muller after you went to Lake Ozark?
Went on a return flight with Detective Blackwell from the state police and Chief Richards from the PA.
Back at the Lake Ozark Police Department, did you have an opportunity to process Douglas Stangeland?
Yes,
And did you also process Lonnie Swartz?
yes,
And how about Andrew Whale?
yes.
Detective.
You could put it under Gallo 2.
Sure. Can you tell the jury what you did to process these individuals?
We had gotten an affidavit and the warrant signed, and we took photographs of them, photographed them, overall, their face, front and back of their hands, just to show that they, none of them had any injuries, so just showing the lack of injury. And then we took buccal swabs from each one, which is like a DNA sample.
Now, you said that you had photographed Mr. Stangeland, Mr. Swartz, Mr. Whale to see if they had any injuries. Did you notice any injuries on any of them?
No.
Detective, mark this as S-193. Does that appear to be the search warrant and affidavit that you obtained?
Yes.
Did you collect buccal swabs or buccal swabs from these defendants?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what that is? What's a buccal swab?
It's when you take a Q-tip, essentially it's just a Q-tip, and you're rubbing the inside of the mouth, you're getting the cells, it's a DNA sample.
Okay. Was DNA, in your opinion, necessary in this case?
No, it didn't become, we took it because it became necessary, but no, I mean, we had a lot of victims.
When you were processing these defendants, did you obtain their clothing, the clothing that they were wearing at the time of the kidnapping?
Yes, it was actually, when I got to the PD, one of the patrolmen had taken all of their clothing from the jail, had it separated in bags, so he had brought it back to the PD. I put it in the evidence locker at that time, and then later on, I took it out, inventoried it, and put it on evidence logs.
Very good. I want to start off with Mr. Stangeland, and I'm going to show you some photographs that mark S-194 to S-201. Lieutenant, I would ask you to take a look at these photographs, if you would. S-194 to S-201. Did you take those photographs?
Yes.
All right, let's begin with S-194. What do you see depicted in that photograph?
These were the personal items taken from Mr. Stangeland at the jail.
And you're at S-195.
95.
There you can actually see the items, correct?
Yes. They just turned the bag over so you could see through it.
Okay. And what do you see in that photograph?
There is his license, a pack of cigarettes, there was like a plastic bag, some other pieces of clothing, a phone, it looked like a pen, and a money clip
Money clip at the bottom here.
at the bottom.
Okay.
And we'll go to the next slide, that's 196. Was that the hat that he was wearing that day?
Yes, that's the hat that they took from that jail.
Okay. Then we'll go to S197. Those were his boots.
Correct.
And S198. What is that?
That's his jacket, his Carhartt jacket that he was wearing.
How about S199
Is an Eddie Bauer t-shirt.
and S200?
It's the same t-shirt.
Okay. And S201.
Or denim overalls.
So that was the clothing that Mr. Stangeland was wearing at the time of his arrest?
Yes, correct.
I'd like to talk to you about Mr. Wadle. Lieutenant, have your S202 to S206. There's- Did you take those photographs?
Yes, I did.
And if we go to S202, what is depicted in that photograph?
This is that's like a sweat jacket zip up front that was taken from the suspect Wiggle.
And S203,
Carhartt jacket,
S204,
it's a pair of jeans,
S205,
t-shirt,
S206,
and his work boots.
and finally Mr. Sworn. S206, S214. And then finally, S207 through S214. Let's take a look at this. Did you take those photographs?
Yes, I did.
All right. And then we go to S207. What does that appear to be?
They were the work boots that Ronnie Swange was wearing.
And how about S208,
His t-shirt that he was wearing.
S209?
There was jeans, and then we had put markers showing where we thought might be suspected blood on his jeans.
And that would be right in here, right?
Yes,
All through here.
correct.
And although no analysis was done on the genes, did that appear to you at the time to be potentially blood?
Yes.
And if we go to the next slide.
This is the camo jacket he was wearing.
Next slide.
This is all the items, when Andrew turned over to me, both of the other defendants, their clothing was in clear plastic bags that came from the jail. Ronnie Sworns had a actual gym bag, and these were the contents that were inside of his gym bag, like in the center part of his gym bag.
And just to point out a couple of those items, you see a skull cap right about here.
Yes,
And there's also a red bandana, correct?
correct.
And we can go to the next slide. And was that his shirt? that he was wearing?
Yeah, that's his shirt, and this was also in the center compartment of that gym bag.
S213?
It's just another picture of the prior picture. Contents of the gym bag.
214.
This also came out of the gym bag. It was a bag for insulin syringes.
And to your knowledge, did you learn that Mr. Sworns was diabetic?
Yes.
Now, you were not the person who collected the firearms from the vehicle, is that correct?
Correct.
That was done by, do you know?
That was done at the scene by Patrolman Warner. He took one of them off of, I think it was Ronnie Sworns, and then I think Ronnie Sworns advised him that there were other firearms in the car, so he retrieved them.
S215 through S218. Just go okay, if you could look at the screen, I'm just asking you to look at it up there, and then we can go to 216, 217, and 218. Were those the items that were turned over to you by Officer Warner with the Lake Ozark Police Department?
Yes,
And you took those photographs,
I
right?
took this photograph, yes, I did.
I'd like to turn your attention to about 11:30 in the morning on January 11th. Did you process this defendant's vehicle?
Yes.
Why did you process the vehicle?
Press the vehicle to collect evidence from.
And did you have a search warrant to
Yes.
process that vehicle?
Yes.
Did you attempt to obtain latent fingerprints from the vehicle?
Yes, when we were done, I took photographs of the vehicle, collected evidence from the vehicle, and then at the very end, we did a fingerprint analysis in the vehicle, and it was negative for any fingerprints that were usable.
What are some of the reasons why you might not be able to get usable fingerprints?
A lot of times, I mean, interior of the vehicle, there's not that many surfaces that are conducive to get fingerprints from. You know, maybe you'll get it from, if you're lucky, maybe the front of the radio, maybe from the rear mirror, if there's any other smooth, hard surfaces. We did recover some friction ridge, which is what your fingerprint is, but they were either overlays or they were very smudged, so we didn't get anything that was usable.
Were you able to recover some items of evidential value though from the vehicle?
Yes.
Do you recall how many items?
I have to refer to my report. It was
That-
a lot.
And if you go to the evidence log, I would refer you to RMG 26 through 49.
Yes.
You go under, what was? Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, going into, you'll get that. 60, okay. I want to show you three pictures. These were previously marked into evidence as S60 through S62. Let's take a look at those. Is that the vehicle that you processed?
Yes.
We'll go to 61 and 62. Now, I want to show you some additional photographs.
Thank you.
I'll show you first S108, S109, and S110. Did you find any zip ties inside the vehicle?
Yes,
And show you S108. Is that a photograph of some of the zip ties that you found in the vehicle?
yes.
And how about S109
Yes, it's another magazine price.
and S110?
That's just a picture of that same zip tie.
And you see the zip ties there in the middle?
Yes,
Did you take all of those photographs?
yes.
I'll show you what we've marked as S111, S112, and S113. Go to S111. What's depicted in S111?
This was a laptop in the case that was taken out of the trunk of the suspect's vehicle and belonged to Mr. Mueller.
And S112?
This is Mr. Mueller's briefcase that was taken out of the trunk of that vehicle.
And how about S113?
This is a picture of the interior of that briefcase. It had some mail that had Mr. Mueller's address on it. You can see his inhaler and his personal items.
Show you what these S219 through S235, so there's quite a few. Take a moment, just look through those photographs. Did you take all of those photographs?
Yes,
And were all of those items depicted in those photographs found inside the defendant's vehicle?
yes.
Let's start with S219. What does that appear to be?
It looks like a list.
Okay. Kind of a to-do list or something like that?
Yes. So you wouldn't forget to do some stuff or bring some stuff with you. It looks like, don't forget to bring the stuff with you.
Okay. And I want to talk about a couple of the items on that list. On the bottom, you see 9-volt battery,
Yes,
and about midway through, don't forget the stun gun, right?
correct.
We go to S220. What is that?
This is a receipt for the Super 8 Hotel in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
And what is the arrival date at the East Stroudsburg, or the Super 8 in East Stroudsburg?
January 7th.
And the departure
It
date,
was January
2010.
8th, 2010, yes.
We go to S221. What do you see there?
There were 2 cans of starter fluid that were in the back seat on the floor of the suspect's vehicle.
Inside the vehicle?
Correct.
S222.
These were things that were taken out of the trunk. So I just laid them out, took a picture of all of them. There's an atlas.
Directly down here to the bottom right portion. What is that?
That's a phone book,
From where?
Sussex County.
Sussex County phone book found in this defendant's car?
Correct.
We go to S223. And well, that's might be a little hard to see. That piece of paper with writing on it, where did you find that?
That was in the dashboard. There was like, when you open the dashboard, there were like 2 compartments. It was in the upper compartment.
And up at the top there, it looks like a social security number
Correct.
and a date of birth.
Date of birth, an account number, and a routing number. An
The
account.
date of birth and the social security number, do you know who that matched?
Yes, there are victims, Jeff Myers.
And how about that routing number and account number?
They were accounts that he had.
Can we go to the next one? And again, I just ask you to look right in this area, not too concerned about the big red bottom,
Okay. There's zip ties.
okay?
They were on the front passenger floor of the suspect's vehicle.
That's 225. And what do you see there?
This was a Missouri identification card for insurance,
And who is the insured?
Douglas Stangeland.
The vehicle that you processed, who owned that vehicle?
Douglas Stangeland.
And we can go to the next slide. And what do you see depicted there?
This was the Missouri identification cards, and then there was a note that was in the vehicle that we found, and it was dated 12/15. It says, "I, Douglas Stangeland, am allowing Andy Waddell and Billy Barger to use my car, a 2002 Chevy Malibu, silver in color with Missouri tag tag," and then it's his signature at the bottom.
And if we can go to the next slide. It's just a pile of receipts, but my question to you would be, did you have a chance to look through the receipts that you found in the car that day?
I didn't look through all of them, no.
Did any of the ones that you saw show that this individual was in the area of Sussex County at the time of the kidnapping?
Yes.
Go to the next slide. What do you see there?
They were 3 6-hour, like those energy drinks that people drink.
Where'd you find that?
They were in the door panel. I mean, you have a door, you have a compartment where you can put things inside of the door. That's what they were, in the suspect's vehicle.
That's 230.
This was a piece of paper that we collected, had a fax number on it. I don't know if it means anything, but we took it.
Now, as you processed the car, did you find a lot of these yellow small pieces of paper with writing on it?
There was an enormous amount of paper, receipts, there was a lot of stuff in this car. So, we were going through it and deciding what was important, what isn't, what do we need to take.
And the next series of slides, you're going to see some of these yellow pieces of paper. Based on your investigation, did you learn that these individuals were passing notes back and forth to each other during the commission of this offense?
Yes, actually, when we found these, that's the assumption I made, that like, while he's in the car, they're writing notes because they don't want to talk out loud. And then later in the investigation, found out that was true.
And if we go to the next slide. Was that one of the notes that you saw?
Yes.
And if we go to the next slide. We'll go to the next slide. Next slide. Go to the next slide. All those were, those are the notes that you saw inside the car?
Correct.
I'm going to spend a minute on this item, marked S235. Where did you find that item?
We found that in the trunk.
Bring up the bag so you can identify it. Is this the same item that was depicted in that photograph?
Yes,
And did you have an opportunity to look inside this particular item?
yes.
First open it, there is a bag. And what's the name on the bag?
Stangeland. Stangeland.
And did Mr. Stangeland leave a notebook inside of this portfolio?
Yes,
And did he write some notes about some of his activity?
correct, yes. It's almost like a diary.
I'm going to ask you if you could read to the jury the second note, beginning with "Sir."
Sir, with no disrespect intended, if I were done, I would proceed, but I have Silverback with me, and as you have ordered, I cannot discuss this with him. His sugar crashed last night when Prospect and I met up with Brutal and Silverback. After eating and 2 shots, he got it under control. I do not know how stable he is. Sir, will I be given or can I have the intel on the subject? I do not want to get the wrong man. I do not know how to tell Silverback that we will have no help unless you stated all hell breaks loose, that firepower only. I do not feel right taking him in blind and risk him getting hurt. His safety is very important to me. He did not know he was the one to stay with me. He was left behind due to health reasons on Saturday. I would like to complete the mission and to redeem myself with the family. I would like to be able to correct my mistakes and apologize to the family and any brothers and may have put in possible danger. That was not my intent.
Thank you. Judge, for the record, this portfolio is marked S236. Detective, we've had several photographs, I believe already marked into evidence of Rick's store. But I just want to show you some of those. It's just foundation. I'm going to just show you what we've marked S72, 72A, B, C, and D. I'm asking you to take a look at those photographs. And just for authentication purposes, were you the person that took those photographs?
Yes,
We also watched a tape from Rick's store, surveillance tape. Did you or a member of your department obtain that surveillance tape from Rick's store?
yes,
And do you believe that you obtained or captured all the relevant surveillance tape from Rick's store on that day?
yes.
That's all I have.
All right, we'll take a recess, ladies and gentlemen, and have some questions.